Keep it high, keep it tight. I'm Ccjamboree, review guy, back to bring you another video. So it is no surprise that I am a big fan of Bring Me the Horizon, and they are currently my third highest band, bordering on second favorite, and they used to be my favorite. So I made a video a bit ago that was the Bring Me the Horizon Ultimate Song Quiz, where I tested fans' knowledge of Bring Me the Horizon with songs from all of their different albums to see if you could get it. And I have dedicated reviews to this band, and I plan to come out with a review for some of their other albums very, very soon. So in this video, I'm just going to go over my top 10 favorite songs from Bring Me the Horizon. Now, I want to spoil a couple things about this list. Now, this is my list. This is my favorite songs from the band. And this shouldn't reflect your opinions or how you feel about the band or whatever, because there are some songs that no doubt you would think are dead set, and they're not going to be on here, because this is my personal preference and I have specific reasons of why I like each song. So I can spoil that Chelsea Smile, it's not on this list. In fact, there's also not any songs from Count Your Blessings or This Is What the Edge of Your Seat Was Made For. Now, I am a fan of deathcore, and I still go back and bump albums like Count Your Blessings, and I'll definitely do a review of that eventually, because I think that that's an important album for the genre and an important album for the band. But personally, there's not a song on that album that I really believe is so far up there. I would say this: Pray for Plagues would probably be, or for Stevie Wonder's Eyes Only, those would be very, very bordering top 10. Those would be like 11 or 12, because they're definitely high energy, and it's hard to believe that this is the same band. So I'm not someone that just likes the older stuff or just likes the newer stuff. I'm not an elitist on either side or an extremist, because this band unfortunately does have a lot of elitists on either side of the spectrum saying that one side is better than the other. That's just how it is. A lot of bands have that. So let's get stuck right into the list. So number 10, straight off the bat, is going to be a tie. So number 10 is going to go to It Never Ends / Crucify Me. So these are both great, great songs from There's a Hell, Believe Me, I've Seen It, There's a Heaven, Let's Keep It a Secret. Crucify Me starts off the album on an amazing note. It has this choir that comes in. It features these Canadian, I believe she's Canadian singer Lights, and it is overall such a great, it really shows you what the album's going to be. And going off of their previous albums that they had released, especially in the deathcore genre, this orchestral feel that they really pick up for this album showcases that. And It Never Ends is on this list as well. You might have thought that would have been higher, but It Never Ends does the same exact thing. I love every song from Bring Me the Horizon. Let me go ahead and just put that out there. They don't have a dud song. There's no song that this band has crafted that I don't like. But the orchestral feel on these two songs and the overall heaviness of the album, I feel like these two songs capture that the best. So, number 9, we're going back in their discography, further back from the album we just spoke about, with Diamonds Aren't Forever. So this is the furthest back song that is going to be on this list. This is from Suicide Season, their 2008 album that they released. And this is just straight up aggressive metalcore that is kind of mixed with deathcore. This whole album still had some of the traces of Count Your Blessings, but it was moving away from it. It was going more towards the traditional metalcore side, and Ollie might have messed up his voice a little bit. Oliver Sykes, the lead vocalist, he might have messed his voice up over the years, but boy, when you go back and listen to some of the raw aggression in some of their earlier albums, he does a great job. His vocal performance on this song is phenomenal, and when you hear that first opening lick, we will never sleep because sleep is for the weak, and we will never rest, we're all dead. Like that's just, that line in particular is actually one of the lines from Bring Me the Horizon that really sticks out the most to me. And I think that this song is, in my opinion, the #1 song from this album. The Sadness Will Never End, or The Sadness Never Ends, that is a great track as well. And the Come Down, Chelsea Smile, there's a lot of great songs from this album, don't get me wrong. But personally, whenever I want to just go back and listen to one song from Suicide Season, if I'm not listening to the whole album, which usually I'll listen to the whole album because that's just how I am, I'll usually go back and listen to Diamonds Aren't Forever. So, number 8 is going to be Anti-Vist. This is the first the first song that we're going to be talking about from Sempiternal. And this is a crushing, just... If it's not the type of thing you would have expected when you're listening through Sempiternal, because there are some aggressive tracks on Sempiternal, don't get me wrong, it's still very, very heavy. But when you go back to their earlier discography and you listen to the aggression that they had and that Oliver Sykes had in his vocals, Anti-Vist, I firmly believe this, is their most aggressive song. The lyricism is so just out there, and it's so angry, and you can hear the anger in the lyrics. And I just, I'll tell you one thing, it's not the type of song you want to listen to if you don't enjoy harsh language or can't appreciate that in an art form, because this song goes out there. I mean, Ollie is just screaming at the top of his lungs, and the message is not necessarily that bad. And it is a very interesting song. It's kind of one of the songs that is good to just stand back and marvel at, because it's one of those songs that are right in your face. It doesn't compromise at all, and it, with these crushing riffs that are being played and just the guitar work and the drums pounding forward, it almost borderlines on what you would consider to be almost like a grindcore type of, obviously it's a metalcore song, but it almost has that chugging type of atmosphere with this lyricism that is misanthropic in its type of register, and just being completely just this oral assault. And it is fast, it is aggressive, it is amazing, and I really, really love this track. And I think for Sempiternal, it is a great, great song. So number 7 is going to be Oh No / Deathbeds. So these are both kind of softer songs. Oh No being the final track off That's the Spirit. I really, really love the melody in this song. I think that Ollie's vocals on this track are very, very well tailored. I think that his experimentation with softer, more melodic, hyper melodic vocals on That's the Spirit really paid off with some beautifully constructed tracks such as Oh No and Follow You. Follow You could have been on this list. Once again, that would probably be in the top 15, maybe 20. But Oh No, in my opinion, is the superior of the two. Oh No, to me, really is a great ending to the album, because it's almost a concept album in its thought process, because Ollie's opened up about how it's about like being in a dark place and finding your way out. And obviously, he was addicted to ketamine, and that's what sparked the inspiration for Sempiternal, which was the album that was prior to That's the Spirit. And That's the Spirit was kind of an offshoot of Sempiternal in terms of the thought process, because he was still in that type of frame of mind, and the separation with his wife, and overall it was a troublesome period for him. And instead of letting it bring him down, he crafted some really, really, truly angry tracks. And I could have included a song like True Friends on here just for that reason, but once again, 15 to 20, that probably would have been on it. As for Deathbeds, that's off Sempiternal. That is the most haunting and beautiful song that Bring Me the Horizon has ever made, and is honestly one of the most haunting and beautiful songs that I have heard any band make. Deathbeds is just this swirling, atmospheric thrill ride, and it's fairly long for a Bring Me the Horizon song. It's about 5 minutes, I believe, and it is a bonus track. It wasn't even on the official album. It's a bonus track, as well as, I believe it's called Chasing Rainbows, and wow, they're both fantastic tracks, but Deathbeds, believe it or not, is the first Bring Me the Horizon song that I ever heard. So maybe it's a bit nostalgic for me, but I still regularly go back to Deathbeds because it is such a beautifully haunting track that sticks in your mind, and it sometimes leaves my jaw on the floor just how the vocal passages work with the female and male vocals melding together, and it's a fantastic track that I really enjoy. Number 6 is going to be Alligator Blood. This is kind of for the same reason that I really enjoy Antivist. This song is back on There's a Hell, Believe Me, I've Seen It. There's a Heaven, Let's Keep It a Secret. This is a very loud, aggressive track that just shows they can make some amazing metalcore songs that get in your ears, that are loud, that are aggressive, that really show what the genre is capable of. And maybe it's not the newest idea. Maybe it's not a trick that has been done before by other bands or this band in particular, but I have to say Alligator Blood is one of their songs that really just get me pumped the most. Whenever I'm listening to the album, I have it on physical copy. Whenever I listen to There's a Hell, Believe Me, I've Seen It, There's a Heaven, Let's Keep It a Secret, I just get hyped when Alligator Blood comes on, because when you first hear the intro riff and you know the vocals are about to start, I really like it, and I really, really like the lyricism surrounding a card game and just a game in general, and Can't Call a Bluff with a Dead Man's Hand, or My Alligator Blood is Starting to Show, and Now That You Know This, I Know That You Know, Can't Call a Bluff with a Dead Man's Hand, like that. The whole song is about over and over and over again, we play the same old game. I really like the lyricism on this, and it's simple. It's easy to understand, but that's not always such a bad thing, and it is a good one. Number 5. Number 1, it's going to be one that you did not expect, and number 2, it's one that I don't think you would have expected to be this high if you would have known. Number 5 is Fox and the Wolf, the closing track from There's a Hell, Believe Me, I've Seen It. And it's a short track. It's an extremely short track. It's very short, and I love the bursting energy that this song contains. All these vocals are just tortured. They are loud. I know I have to say this with all their heavy songs, but it's loud, it's aggressive, it's heavy, and kind of for the same reason I like Antivist. These two tracks could go head to head when it comes to loudness and heaviness and aggression, because Fox and the Wolf, it's once again an oral assault. It is an earworm that just burrows its way into your ear and doesn't leave, and I often find myself replaying it, or at least wishing there was more because of how short it is, and I wish it would have been longer, but for the time frame, it's kind of that grindcore type of, I know this is not even close to grindcore, but that's the word I have to use, but the fast, just quick track, it's really fast. The vocals are just these shrieked, angered type of vocals, and it works so well, and it's a great closer. I wish it would have been longer, but for the time they have on this track, because they had so many longer tracks, and they had a full-length, filled out, fleshed out album, they had to end it in some way, and I think Fox and the Wolf does it great. I can't imagine what it would have been like if it was a longer track. So number 4, Empire / Let Them Sing. This isn't a tie. That's the name of the song. It's Empire, and then it's in brackets, Let Them Sing. So this is, I can't put into words how much I love this song. It reminds me a lot of Anthem from There's a Hell, which was the album before this, and you can see the parallels between their songs. And Empire is it's probably the track that gets me the most hyped out of all of Bring Me the Horizon's songs. Empire, to me, whenever I hear it come on, I'm just like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm just getting hyped, I'm getting excited, and I sing right along with it. And once again, Oliver's performance on this, when he's just loud and he's really into it, you can really tell that these vocals might not be perfect. They have that jilted, rough, raspy edge to them on like Suicide Season and There's a Hell and Sempiternal to some degree, but they work because you can tell he's into it. He's really passionate about what he's saying, screaming, growling. He's so into it. And for Sempiternal, This was a more mature sound. The instrumentation is a lot less chaotic like it was on the previous albums, and it was more focused, it was more uh, determined to get its point across, and the vocals work with that, they work to perfect that, and they work in its favor. So number 3, our final tie, and the snakes start to sing / seen it all before. So these are the top 2 tracks that I like the most from Sempiternal. They come right after, Seen It All Before comes right after And the Snakes Start to Sing, and this is more of a personal preference. A lot of people like And the Snakes Start to Sing for obvious reasons. It goes through those changes throughout the song. It starts off and it has this melody, it has this low raspy vocalization, and it always just kind of like it's hard to explain. It's this low raspy, half sung, half just spoken word type of. He sounds so done with everything. I mean, he sounds so done with it, and for the lyrics, when they match them together, it works so perfectly. When he's just like, "I've lost the plot again. Tell your friends to sharpen their teeth." When it's that low, just register, really low, and I really like the song because it goes into just that roaring end, and it's interesting how Bring Me the Horizon later in their career has been able to mix this heavy music with these softer portions. And I'm not just saying you have a heavy track, you have a soft track, and then you have a soft track, and then you have a heavy track. Blending the two together. When you have a song like Can You Feel My Heart, the first track off of Sempiternal, when it does the intro and it's so heavy, and it's like, can you hear the silence? And then you enter that bridge near the end of the song, which is like, I'm scared to get close, and I hate that part. It does a great job in Sempiternal and That's the Spirit. Not so much on There's a Hell in the previous albums, but Sempiternal and That's the Spirit in particular have a great balance of soft and heavy, and the Snakes Start to Sing is a great example of it, and it's the epitome of what Bring Me the Horizon can really do with their music, where they mix these two different worlds and they collide and they make it work and they make it sound great and appealing to the ears. Seen It All Before is kind of a personal pick because I really relate to the lyrics. I really love the lyrics, and I think it's a good song. It kind of, for the same reason of In the Snakes Start to Sing, where it has that low raspy sung vocals in the start where it's like every second soaked in sand. That one, I think it's more of a personal pick. It's hard for me to put into words why I enjoy the song so much, but all I can say is it's one of the songs that I go back to the most. So it's no surprise that would be one that I really enjoyed, and that's probably the one personal pick on the album. So we're up to the top 2. I've said before, That's the Spirit is my favorite album from the band, and I think this will prove it. Number 2 is going to be Avalanche. The first time I heard the drums and the electronics hit at the start of the song, I was hooked on this song. And then it all slows down, and then the guitar comes on, and there's that clean transition, and it works so well. And then the vocals come on, and they're sung, and they're just, I can't put into words how great the vocals are on That's the Spirit, in particular with the sung and louder vocals. Now, there isn't really a metalcore song on this album. There isn't really a super hard song. The closest you would get to that is something like True Friends, Throne, Blasphemy, but there's not really a song on this album that's just like rah, like the previous albums. But number 1 kind of borders on that. Bit of a spoiler that it is on That's the Spirit. See if you can guess it. But Avalanche, when the vocals kick in, and then Ollie ends up using his falsetto in between, when the bridge comes between the intro verse and the chorus, the first chorus, when he's like, I'm going out of frequency, can anyone respond? That part is great, and he uses his falsetto quite a few times and on this album, and another one of which will be number 1 on this list. And when that powerful chorus kicks in, it really recalls a lot of anthem rock, a lot of stadium rock that is from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, where it was just so pounding, and I love the chorus in the song. It's one of my favorite Bring Me the Horizon choruses, second only to number 1. So, guess now? Post in the comments if you want, 5 seconds. Number 1, Doomed. The first song off of That's the Spirit. Oh boy. Doomed is by far my favorite Bring Me the Horizon track. It's the one I go back to the most. It's the one I sing to myself the most. It's the one I think about the most. And it's one of the first Bring Me the Horizon songs I heard after Deathbeds. And boy, people say That's the Spirit is not as heavy, and that is true. But the chorus in Doomed, it does recall to me something that could have been on Sempiternal. I fully 100% pledge that I think Doomed could have been on Sempiternal if they wanted to, and it could have passed. It could have worked perfectly, because when you have soft songs like And the Snakes Start to Sing, or Softer, and Seen It All Before, which could have gone hand in hand with tracks like Oh No and Follow You, you get, or Run, you get kind of this parallel where I think that Doomed could have been on Sempiternal, because it does have that heaviness in the chorus, and especially after the second verse when it goes into the So Leave the Light On, I'm coming home, it's getting darker but I'll carry on, that bridge, that verse, whatever you want to call it, third verse, first bridge, whatever you want to call it, and then Ollie's falsetto on, I think we're doomed, that part. I highly apologize that I have been singing in this video. I really shouldn't, because I am terrible at it. That's why I review music, not make music. But anyways, I think it's a great song, and it's my favorite song from the album. It's my favorite Bring Me the Horizon song in general. So my name has been Ccjamboree, the review guy. Give me your list in the comments below. Tell me what your favorite Bring Me the Horizon songs are, and I'll talk to you guys next time. But until then, I'm signing off saying farewell.
Oh no, what your mama gonna say when I tell her that I broke no heart? It's just things not the way that they used to be. Oh no, now you crying on the bathroom floor, and I guess it's the end. Well, I lost my mind and I lost my bed.